Goombas magazine! Hi everyone, and it's the moment we've all been waiting for. Super Mario Odyssey has landed on the Nintendo Switch, and here we are about to start the adventure for ourselves. And we are in Cap Kingdom to begin with. Bowser is looking to marry Peach, and he has kicked us off his airship, and we've landed here with this fella, who we all know is Cappy, but we'll get a bit of an introduction to him in a second. And to begin with, in Cap Kingdom, all you can start to do is run and jump. So we're going to give that a little go now, just having a quick look around so you can see how beautiful it all looks. I mean, that scene is literally stunning. So at the moment, Cappy is all the way up over on that hill. So let's head on over to him and do some jumping along the way. So it's pretty familiar in terms of the game mechanics to games like Mario 64 or Super Mario Sunshine. There's some similarities to Galaxy, but it's much bigger in terms of its scale, which we are loving. So at the moment, all we can do is run around and jump. And we can kind of scare a few frogs over in the corner, but we will find out a little bit more about them later on. So at the moment, Cap Kingdom, it all looks pretty kind of otherworldly, just ghostly hats floating around all over the place. And we are going to go over and say hello to Cappy, who gives us kind of a bit of a breakdown of what is going on. So essentially, Bowser is attacking Cappy, and he has stolen Cappy's sister, who is now a tiara for Princess Peach as a gift ahead of their impending wedding. It's a crazy world, and we have got to save it. So here we are starting out in Cap Kingdom, and we're going to find out how to throw Cappy. And it's simply by pressing Y or shaking the Joy-Con controllers. So there you go, Mario's pretty bored already, but you can see up there is the airship that we want to get to, or the place that we want to get to be able to move on to the next level. So we are going to use Y to throw the hat and learn all the things that it can do. So there you go, you can shake the Joy-Con to throw it forward, and you can run around and throw the hat at things like this stump up ahead. And as you throw it, Cappy jumps onto the top of it, pulls the stump out, and gives you a boatload of coins. So you can see Cappy's going to be a massively integral part of the game, as I'm sure you will have seen in all of the gameplay videos and trailers that have been released ahead of the game. So here we can get those stumps out of the way with Cappy and pick up some coins, and we can smash these crates with Cappy, so he really does come in handy. And we kind of, at the moment, we've only got the basic controls with Cappy, but we will get many more later on in the game. And we just kind of want to show you a little cool thing, which is if you stand in one place for long enough, then Mario will just have a little sit down. And then if you stay there for long enough still, then eventually he's just gonna have a little nod off. You can see there his head's bobbing. He's about to fall asleep. He's pretty tired. Oh yeah, just lay down, have a little sleep there, Mario. So if you can't just stand in one place for long enough, Mario will properly just lie down and zonk out, despite the fact there's a massive dilemma for him to deal with. But anyway, back to the adventure itself. So we are up, we're in Cap Kingdom, and you can see kind of Cap Kingdom's been attacked. It's got smoke coming out of it, and that has destroyed all of their airships. So we need to get to the next kingdom to be able to get a new airship. So we're just going to go around and pick up everything that we can find, and we kind of think this is quite cool. It's coin stacks. So instead of coins just being floating, here they are stacked together, which is a bit more realistic, and realism's kind of a new thing for Mario. It's something we're going to see in the game later on, in particular when we get to New Donk City, where it's pretty much just got real people in it, which is very unusual for a Mario game. But it's all very interesting to see a bit of a progression in the game, that it's not the same as it always was. There's massive innovation in this game, in particular of Cappy, but also that kind of just an element of realism which we are liking. You can obviously take that too far, and hopefully Mario hasn't done that, but kind of at the moment it does look quite cool. So we're just going to explore the environment. You can see the fog when we walk into it. It moves out of the way but swiftly comes back. But these flowers are quite useful. because when you hit them you get a heart, and that's something you might need later on in the game. So we haven't really come up against any big problems at the moment, any big bosses to fight yet, but later on in the game we're going to need those hearts, so it's really useful to know. So kind of looking back, the fog's returned, and you can see some more posts for us to deal with there with Cappy. So just fire him in and get those out of the way, and then we're just going to go back and make sure we haven't missed anything, because this looks like there's maybe just a little bit of something down here. So we're just going to fire Cappy at that block, and yeah, there is a space for us to get into down here. So we're just going to head across, and if you walk straight across, it kind of looks like there's nothing there. But if you look closely enough, you can see kind of there's a bit weird that you had that area and there was nothing to be given to you. But you can just see some coins hiding behind that poster. So we're just going to jump, use Cappy to get to the coins, and then we can just jump in there and pick those coins up. And there are a couple more down here as well. So clearly Bowser is very proud of his impending wedding that he's putting posters up all over the place. It's a bit sad really, you know. If anything, he should just find himself a nice big old lady crocodile to hang out with, retire a nice little place in Florida, and just, you know, stop attacking the Mushroom Kingdom, dude. It doesn't do you any good. You always end up in a bad way in the end, and I'm sure that's definitely going to be the case here by the end of the game. So here we go. We're going to head up here. We're going to get these blocks out of the way, and we're going to hopefully get close enough to be able to move on to our first full kingdom. So this is Cappy's kingdom, or the Cap Kingdom, and it's pretty much just the training ground area where you learn the main moves, like using Cappy and breaking blocks. And you can use Cappy to access switches like this, which trigger this bridge to come up. And then we've got our first enemies to take out. So we've got our first Goombas, and there you go, just firing Cappy straight at them smashes them out the way quite easily. And once again we've got more of these flowers, 4 more of the hearts. So there's 6 here, and that gives us another heart. So then just having a look around, because it is pretty magical, and then we're just going to head into what looks like a door. It kind of looks a bit like an elevator door, but it's not, it's just the main door. And here we are, we're inside the top hat. This is really close to the end of the main first section in Cap Kingdom. So here we're just going to learn a few new things. So firstly, we're just going to try and get all of these coins and try to see if some traditional moves like the stomp works, and it does. So that's just jumping and stomping, which is quite traditional Mario move. And we're just going to head back over here just in case we've missed anything, and it looks like we have. So just using Cappy there, hitting a multiple coin block there, so that's quite good. And then we've got some more coins up ahead, and you can also see our first introduction to water, which kind of looks really nice as ever. But we know, having seen some of the other gameplay videos before the launch of the game, that there are some really cool underwater levels to come. So we can't wait to get to those. And here we're going to try throwing the cap at one of the frogs. And we've managed to turn into a frog, and the mini cinematic that goes along with that is hilarious, where Mario becomes a frog. So I'll let you enjoy that for yourselves when you play the game. And we are going to just try some massive jumping, and the frog can do some really big jumps. So we can get these coin hoops by just jumping straight through them, and we can also get to these higher ledges, much higher ledges. So you can see the frog's got a lot of range when it comes to jumps. And here we're taking on some Goombas, and there's a large pack of them. And as a frog, we kind of thought the Goombas might have the upper hand, but it turns out that we've got just as much strength to stomp them as a frog as we do when we're just standard Mario. So there we go, that's them dealt with. And there we can see there's a bit more water up ahead, so you can see the frog swimming. Here we go, so swimming around. It's quite nice effects on the swimming, and you can see when you kind of interact with blocks like this, you get coins, and that's going to be a bit of a sort of theme throughout the game. So you'll always be able to find cool things by exploring different areas, and you can see we've done it again there by jumping on the frogs. We got some more coins. So I mean, you don't always need to collect all the coins, but it's kind of fun to find those cool new things that are being added to the game. And here we've got some kind of old school Mario block bashing in frog form. And if you kind of remember the frog suit from Super Mario 3, this is a big transition. I mean, it's obviously a kind of a part of that, or it comes from that kind of stylistically. But this is a much realer looking frog, and that kind of continues this tapping into the more realism in the game, which is quite interesting, I think. So here we are getting the last of those coin blocks. Just gonna jump up here and complete these coin hoops, and we are into a much closer area to the main area. So we just need to turn back into Mario, which you can do by pressing ZL. So there we go, Mario's back, and if we wanted to get the frog again, we could fire the hat at it. But we're just going to take out all these blocks and get our first chest. And to open it, you just fire Cappy at it, and that gives us some additional heart powers. So we will continue with that going into the game. So now it's a case of going around the corner and heading on through the door. And here we're outside the cap, so we've made it to the top. And this is the final section before we kind of move on to the next main kingdom. So Top Hat Tower, we're at the top. There's loads of Cappies around. They're all a little bit like, hey dude, what's going on? Oh, I don't know. So we're trying to save the day for them as much as we are saving it for ourselves and the princess. So we're just going to head around and just see if there's anything around this corner. Just make sure there's nothing that we missed along the way. Just kind of heading around, and it's kind of nice little effects where you can see the land that you just kind of moved away from underneath where you are, and you can also see you can't get through there because it's broken. So who knows, maybe we'll have to come back and access that at a later time. So you can see Mario edging around the hat, and there's the entrance that we came through. So we're just going to head back around and head up this hill around the corner to get to the top of the top hat. And there's some more coins for us to pick up, and you can see again, sort of as soon as you interact with an area, some more coins appear, and we have made it to the top. And who are these guys? So essentially it looks like we've got our first boss to take on, and these are apparently Bowser's wedding planners, and they're also pretty nefarious. So you can see by firing the hat at this one, we can take him down, take his hats off him to take away his protection, and suddenly we're able to deal our first damage to him. And you can see the hats kind of running around, and it gets a little bit hairy, so try to avoid those hats, but you've got plenty of lives, so you should be fine. Avoid the hat and then fire the cap, and the little guy will appear again. So we keep firing the cap at it until it gets its head clear, and he's a runner, so we've got to chase him down and get him. And that's it. That was our first boss done in Super Mario Odyssey. That was pretty exciting, but obviously quite an easy challenge to take on. So apparently Cappy thinks that's pretty impressive. Yeah, I guess, you know, all in today's work there, Cappy. So we're just going to take on our first trip in the electricity wires. So here we go. Off we go into what I hope is the first new kingdom. And it is Cascade Kingdom, and it looks amazing. So we will be taking on that challenge in the next walkthrough. But thank you very much for tuning in to our first effort in the game. We're looking forward to taking on more of the action. But for now, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like, share and comment as much as you can. Thanks guys for tuning in, and we will pick back up in the next walkthrough. Thanks, goodbye. Magazine!